All right, so we're back with part two now. So now you've gotten to the point to where, okay, you've gotten past, we've had our childhood. Yeah, we've been frustrated, we're mad, pissed off. Now we're getting a little bit older. Yeah, we've had times where we've had friends when we were younger, doubt us, all that type of stuff. Like, okay, now so we're in college now. The Marcus is in college, and now he has time where he's actually on his own, where he's got to make his own decisions. And so through all this, it's a learning process. And so I realized again for me, just being a doer, being someone that was trying things. And again, as you're continuing to learn, even these small steps that you're taking that are actually big steps, they're still more than other people have done. Yeah, my parents grew up from in the hood project environments, but they never went to a 4-year college and then actually graduated and got involved in stuff in college and stuff like that. I've had cousins and stuff, uncles, aunts that went to college, but not all of them. Most of them didn't go through organizations and stuff like that. I maybe have a couple that actually fully went through that experience. But even as far as my experience, it looked a lot different. So over time, even when you don't know what the hell is going on, the biggest thing is just putting yourself out there and trying things. And I know for who DeMarcus is, that was a big part of who I was. But the bigger part for me that changed everything, and it's still something that I continue to implement to this day, and I've gotten so much better with it, is putting myself at the forefront even when it was uncomfortable. Putting myself at the forefront even when it was uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is, hey, there was times where my acting was bad. People know me from showing my keloid content where I was hella out of shape. I had to start showing that because I couldn't be a person that had to hide behind who I was, because even at points when I tried to do that, when I tried to make people think that I was this type of individual, it never felt good. And I wasn't somebody that did that for a long period of time. It may be me trying to post a photo of me looking swole or whatever during this angle, when I know in reality, like, I got a hellified gut. Or it may be me, like, trying to make it, trying to post a quote saying, this is how you gain confidence, when in reality, I was feeling insecure. So I had to really showcase who I was, what I was going through, even at the time as when you're still a kid going into a young adult, when for most people it's about clout, trying to be famous, trying to look like you're the cool kid in college or whatever. I challenged myself and said, you know what? I'm going to do all these things that I know that I would be appreciative of later on, these things that are going to make me me, but these things that are not going to be part of following the crowd. And what comes with that is, hey, there's going to be times where I'm not going to get invites at certain places when it comes to as far as the amount of love or clout that I, in a sense, probably really should get, I'm never going to get, or the popularity or whatever. That's cool. Because at the end of the day, the fact that I can still, I'm going to be myself during this whole process, even if it's a point to where there may be embarrassing moments, or there may be a time where I get frustrated and do something wrong or treat somebody wrong. At least I'm doing it to the point to where I'm being me and I can adjust on that. But when you truly being somebody else, when it comes to imposter syndrome and all that, you ain't never going to get to a certain level because you're always being somebody else. So when it came to imposter syndrome, I had to learn to accept myself and truly value myself. So there were those moments in which people know me from college where I had like my daily thoughts, where I was talking about building confidence and stuff like that. I didn't always have the confidence during those moments, but I was willing to share where I was, times where I may have been insecure, times where I felt certain ways. And I realized that I was a person where I was truly setting that blueprint. And there were people that were trying to tell me what to do, how I should be going about it, but they weren't built like that. Because even some of those people still to this day, when I see them, I'm like, man, you still doing the same stuff that you was doing back then. You trying to tell me how to be confident. You wouldn't even know where close. But for me, I didn't want people to always feel as if I was the most confident whenever. I wanted people to understand that, like, hey, we are in this process together. I wanted to show people how to be able to go and do self-care type of dates with themselves. I wanted to show people how to be able to, my friends, how to be able to go do this. Hey, if it's going to get yourself checked out, for STD testing, getting physicals, like, hey, this is real stuff that we're talking about. Why? Because it has to do with our lives. But how this all ties into self-doubt or self-confidence is because for you to be able to be confident in yourself, that's going to help you to be able to feel as if you're worth being able to take on challenges and level up yourself in other areas. And I say all those things as far as going to get testing and everything like that, because when you learn how to be able to have confidence and learning that, hey, I'm going here to be able to take care of myself. I'm going here because, at the end of the day, I want to make sure I'm protecting me, and whatever comes with this result, I got to take it on the chin. But you know what? I'm actually doing the right thing. That's going to help you to not have self-doubt. Because when you play in the middle, when you feel as if like, oh, okay, well, I'm kind of scared, I shouldn't go and get tested. You know what? I shouldn't, I feel it's not just that area. It's gonna mold into other areas. You know what? I'm gonna try to be the cool kid here, so I don't even want to show this part of my weight loss progress because it's gonna look like I have a gut, and then people's gonna see me for that, so they ain't gonna believe that I'm actually working out. I don't want to feel, okay, those two things I want to do. You know what? I ain't even going to go to this party over here. I ain't going to go to this and that. I ain't going to go outside to the swimming pool because, I look really big. So, you know what? At the end of the day, people going to feel like that I ain't really working out. So then my progress is going to feel like it's voided. Man, all these things right here are things that's going to create an insecurity. So now it creates that self-doubt because there's no confidence, there's no self-esteem. So with anything that you do, you're going to feel as if you're trying to hide something, to the point to where going back again to getting tested is something that's protecting yourself. So imagine now you have so much self-doubt, you don't want to look like that you're a certain type of person or whatever. You don't want to look as if like you don't want to have people judging you or whatever, for whatever reason that you think that. So now in a space to where you got to do something for yourself that really, really matters, you won't even do that. So imagine if you won't even do that, imagine the other things you want to do for yourself, right? That goes also into us being able to give so much to others, being able to share all these things with others before we share anything with ourselves. All this stuff plays into feeling inadequate, self-doubt, and all that. And I bring those examples because these are things in which I would do. Hey, learning how to get confidence, just walking into a salon to get a pedicure, manicure, get a massage is like, bro, you know how like many times I would hear, oh man, that's good. Guys going in there to get their manicure and pedicures, that's gay. Like, who says that? And then over time, I realized that like a lot of the ego things that I would experience that would create self-doubt, it was with other men. Oftentimes it's dudes that are insecure, dudes that ain't got no pull, that supposedly getting these women. They might pull a couple good looking women or whatever, but like they're pulling women that are fueling their ego, and they're only getting them because they're lying to the women or they're being somebody that they're not. But imagine if they had to be somebody if they had to be their true authentic self, they'd get crushed. Nobody would want them. Nobody would appreciate them. They wouldn't get the audience that they had. But somebody like DeMarcus, I had to learn that no matter what, even if it's accepting rejection, even if it's getting a no or whatever, at least I was being me at the end of the day. And I realized a lot of the times where I wasn't getting accepted in something, I was getting rejected or whatever, a lot of times it wasn't even because of me. It was because so many people were used to others being somebody else that they was actually in love with that character. You're not going to get a character from me. Again, does that say that DeMarcus didn't have no flaws, insecurities, or whatever? Absolutely not. But I guarantee you, if you ask a ton of people, you can ask anybody, hey, has DeMarcus ever tried to be somebody that he's not or whatever? They're going to be like, man, DeMarcus is somebody that has always instilled trying to push forward and being confident and having self-esteem. And he's always been someone that doesn't mind showing himself. Yeah, he's had times where he was insecure, where he may have fell into that box for like a couple seconds, but who hasn't? And so at the end of the day, you've got to push through that. So I know I went kind of, again, left. Let's bring it full circle. So again, a big part is learning how to be confident in that. And because those aspects of you growing up also help you to be able to relieve some of that self-doubt. So as you continue to move forward, you're starting to get older, you're starting to do things, let's say in your career, right? You're starting to do things that may be a hobby. Now you get to a point to where you started to scale a bit. You start to say, okay, this could actually be something I could see myself doing. This is something that I can actually feel as if is a part of my nature. You start to feel the imposter syndrome now because not only do you feel that you still have this in the back of your mind, that you have people trying to critique you, but now you see the people that are actually like certified in what you're doing. You might see somebody that is a certified weight coach. You might see somebody that's a certified chef, Food Network and everything. You might see somebody that is a platinum based artist, right? And so you feel as if, okay, now I done got past the part to where, I don't feel so much of a type of way that my parents, friends, or whatever, people saying whatever. But dang, now I got to compete with the Chris Browns. I got to compete with the man, I got to compete with the Jeezys. I got to compete with the Mariah Careys. Man, I got to compete with the Super Chefs. I got to compete with I got to compete with the Maya Angelos. You know what I'm saying? I got to compete with the Jennifer Lawrences. I got to compete with the Tom Cruises. Like, now you feeling like that. But this is the biggest part of the conversation. This is where we mess up. Why? Because for those people that have gotten to those levels, we don't even realize that they were in the similar positions as us. Some may have been even way more insecure, but what it took for them, the Denzels and everything, they had to keep on going and pushing forward. And there's obviously, deeper parts in that and how you had to work hard and everything. But from a broad just topic, they just had to keep pushing forward. Why? Because they probably had people in their life that was saying, hey, this is what you got to do, telling them what they should do. You may not be good enough, doubting them or whatever, but they had to keep pushing forward. Why? Because then you get to that point to where really can't nobody talk to you. I'm at a point now with my food to where can't nobody say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that's like, oh, okay, you've been cooking for like some years. Okay, cool. Like, you can give me a recipe, you can give me some ideas, but like, you telling me on what I should be doing here and there, I don't really hear that no more. And if somebody is trying to tell me what to do, unless I don't even mind, like, if it's helpful, if somebody's really trying to be like, hey, DeMarcus, you could try to do this in a different way. If they have, I'll say notoriety, or if I know that they're in that space, right? But a lot of times people try to tell you what to do and try to tell you, but you realize for that life, they ain't got nothing going. So you know what I do now is, hey, I appreciate it, or I'll just ignore it. Why? Because the type of work that I put in, a lot of people don't see anyways. And so oftentimes the people that are trying to critique, they're trying to do that because they want to be able to have something where they can tell me, or they can say, hey, I was a part of DeMarcus's journey. I told the chef how to do this and that. But you realize that when you're somebody that continues to put in work and you got the consistency, you're going to be way ahead of a lot of people. And there could be times where it's like, hey, okay, DeMarcus, why'd you do that? Have you thought about doing this and that? Cool. Hey, that's part of the game. But for people like us that are continuing to put in the work, now because you're the voice, you're the spokesperson, now you're in a position where you can choose if you want to actually deal with that or not. So do I still have imposter syndrome? Of course, because there's going to be times where then I may be in a room with somebody that's like a Michelin star chef, a top baker, right? But here's the transition. About I'll say a year and a half ago, when things were, obviously happened with as far as from my layoff, during that time, I told myself going into the next year, which is 2024, I said, we're done with the self-sabotaging. And it took me a minute to really lock into it. And when I got into 2025, I said, we're definitely done with the self-sabotaging. And I said for last year that my word was going to be dauntless, in which I wasn't ready for my word to be dauntless. My word was really preparation. Because dauntless was really for me this year, because I've been really dauntless in a lot of areas of my life, which I'll share in later podcasts. But during that year, when I say that I've tapped into so many areas for myself within different multifacets and just so many different things in life, which is so like, it's so much that like I gotta drop 6 or 7 months, actually almost a year worth of content that I ain't even got a chance to drop yet. I've dropped a little bit, but I've just been so focused on building discipline and consistency that I haven't had a chance to drop it yet. But I had to really dive deep into my bag and get to a point to where life had to slap me in the face to say, you know what, DeMarcus, you're going to have to really, really figure it out. And I'm still figuring it out in certain areas, right? But life really hit me to the point to where it said, now you really got to put your money where your mouth is. Now you really got to put the action where your mouth, where you've been talking. And so for me, that was just tackling into a lot of different things. And that was where I had a lot of free time. I kid you not. When I say that for imposter syndrome for me went from, let's say when when I was first obviously getting started, and this isn't just with cooking, this was with different areas of my life. Let's say when I used to have imposter syndrome that was at 100%, going into college, going through college, it went to like probably, we'll say it decreased to about 80, 75%, which is very high. When I say that as far as imposter syndrome now has gotten to like 5 to 15%, I truly mean that. And it's probably more closer to 5 to 10. And the reason being is because I realized for DeMarcus, I finally got to a point where I was able to truly be locked in a lot of areas, and I couldn't make no excuses because nobody was going to come and save me. During that time, or during this, during the period, I've been able to cook so much, and I've been able to try so many different recipes and really divvy things out to the point to where all the time that I've been able to have, I got to a point to where I was able to perfect a lot of things. I got to the point where I was able to make things that I hadn't ever made before that I've been planning to do for so long and actually put the time into it. I was able to be in a space where I can be by myself. I didn't have to have people coming in and out the apartment, people giving me their opinions, hearing all their conversations and everything like that. It's cool living with people if you got to, but like at the same time, there's nothing better than when you have time to yourself. Having time to yourself challenges you to really put yourself at the forefront. So all these times in which I was building confidence, self-esteem in college, having roommates, and I love my boys that I got a chance to room with in college, but I needed this time for myself because it really helped me to challenge myself in a way to where I didn't have nobody telling me anything, nobody holding me accountable for anything. I had to be locked in on my own self to the point to where now, by me being locked in, now I'm not feeling nervous where I go to certain environments. I may feel nervous if I was in a competition or if I'm like, dang, okay, I'm curious to how much we're going to sell. When I tell you these last 3 to 4 events that I've done, I haven't felt a nerve. That's different for DeMarcus because even when I was a kid, I would always have to use the bathroom before I go and play a game. I would always have these jitters before I'm doing any and everything. And there's times where you still have jitters, but I feel so confident. I have so much self-esteem and I feel so excited whenever I'm doing things now to where I don't get I don't stumble over my words when I'm trying to like tell somebody about like how I create this, how I create that. I don't feel like less confident whenever I'm telling somebody about how I bake something. I don't feel like, man, I don't know. Like you're always going to have that piece of like, I don't know how people are going to like react to if they taste this or not, but I don't have that where it's just like, dang, hopefully somebody comes to my table. I'm so excited and confident and value myself so much that I'm like, you know what? I know that my personality finna sell. I'm finna get you to this table. And I've also had other examples where I've been able to do this, but this is what I'm saying. When you continue to have those different pockets over time, I've had times where I was with my dad selling t-shirts during the pandemic. I've had times where I challenged myself when I was on campus at the height. And I say the height because when you're going again from a kid into young adulthood, those are the moments where everybody else wants to be somebody that they're not. So when you at that point to where you're still challenging yourself, those are peak moments because it's like if I'm challenging myself here, imagine when I get to a point to where I really sharpen that. So all those little pockets that I had, I finally got to a point to where I was able to really sharpen it. And I say 5 to 15 or 10% because there's still areas in growing as an individual where it's like, okay, I still got some work to do. But a bigger thing is, in addition to what I talked about, I got to a point to where people that are on high levels, people that are doing high level business, people that are in culinary and everything baking wise, like dang, DeMarcus, this is fire. Man, when Darnell from Super Chefs told me that, when he's like, told me that my content and stuff looks fire, when he's telling me like, hey man, I need some of that when I see you, when he's like, for some of the desserts and food that I've been making, when I had the chance to be able to meet up with him, when I had the chance to be able to go out to LA, for a chef on that level, the top in the world, got his own shows and everything. Imagine how many chefs hit him up all the time. And for him to even see my content and be like, hey, that's fire. If I was in Kentucky, I would have been on one of his shows. Like, this is what I'm saying. When you get that type of love and everything because of the work you've been putting in, you're like, oh, this is it. And this is even before I've even got to the point now to where I'm hella confident. So that's another little pocket. So imagine you even getting some of these folks telling you that, hey man, this look dope. This is fire. Okay. People actually trying your food, tasting, seeing your talent, seeing your work that you're doing, seeing how you working out and be like, hey man, I'm gonna need a tip or two from you. That's where you start to lower the imposter syndrome. Why? Because then you see somebody that's on a level that you may want to get to, or you see somebody that has a level of status. Now they putting you as if you in that category. Then once you get closer to people, and once you start, continue to share your story and being even more authentic, that's when the people open up. That's when it takes it to a whole nother level, because now you've gotten to a point to where somebody's like, oh shoot, man, I see how DeMarcus is over here moving. He's showing himself as well too. He's being able to express himself in this type of way while he's cooking. You know what? That's something I didn't get a chance to do during my journey. Man, that's something I didn't get a chance to show people when I was going through my music career, or when I was going through, school, trying to figure out my degree and what I want to graduate in. When you show that piece, you'll realize that people that you didn't even think would express themselves, the people that you wouldn't even think that are on certain levels, they'll reach out to you, or they'll want to add parts of that in their journey. You know how many people reach out to me and being like, man, your videos is fire. I need to get my videos like that. Man, I need to do content like you doing. They can have hella followers. They can be making millions of dollars. Man, you know what? I wish I had that in my arsenal. So the fact that they telling you that they wish that they had that in their arsenal, your imposter syndrome don't lower it way more now. Because now you feel as if you ain't qualified, but this person over here telling you that they wish that they had a piece of what you have when you don't even know how you even got to the point that you've gotten to. So imagine you've gotten to a level, you've achieved these things, or you've been able to hone in on a skill and be able to level up in a way to where there's these assets, there's these skill sets you have now where you don't even know how you got them. You've been so lost, even getting to the point of where you've even gotten to this level, and now this person over here sees that could be an asset for them. If that ain't helping you get past imposter syndrome, I don't know what can help you. Because to me, that's just like, wow, okay. Yeah, we got levels in which we got ways in which we want to level up, but man, this person that I looked at as being on the top level that other people see as being a grade, or other people, or looked at as being certified, they're telling me that they appreciate what I got going on, or they wish that they could add a piece of my sauce to their repertoire. They asking if they can add a piece of the ingredients to my sauce to their recipe. They want to use my sauce in their recipe. Wow. So getting past imposter syndrome is you continuing to hone on your craft, and you continue to put yourself out there. You continuing to make those small strides. You continue to take a little bit to take a little bit and pour that into your recipe each and every day. Hey, I'm using the recipe example from a life perspective because I cook. Hey, you might need to use a little bit of sauce today. You might decide you want to use a whole lot of sauce the next day. You ain't gotta use the same amount each and every time because you have a different audience. You might not have the energy to do this like you would any other day. You might have to do a little bit today. You might have to do a little bit the next day. That's okay. And the biggest thing for DeMarcus that I've learned as well too is I ain't got to do everything at once. I ain't got to have it all figured out at once. Even I'm someone that struggles a lot, or has struggled a lot too, with patience. The thing that's helped me so much more as well is doing a little bit each day. If I got a craft or something I want to focus on, if I got an area that I want to be really, really dope in, all I got to do is put 5 to 10 minutes a day into it. Because then there's going to be days, which I've talked about on some of my other videos I'm going to be dropping, where I'm going to do it for 2 and 3 hours. Right? There may be days in which I'm making a beat I don't really feel like doing. I ain't really in the zone. Cool. I'm on it for 5 minutes. Okay, I may start a beat. It may be like that for like 3 to 5 days. I may still get on there for 5 minutes. I can't do nothing with it. Man, this week is trash. Then days 8 comes around. I'm on that mug for 5 hours. So all the work that I've done, those 5 minutes each and every day, 5 to 10 minutes, those are then added up into, if we do what, let's say 5 minutes times what, 7 days, 5 minutes a day. If we do 10 minutes a day, if we do 10 minutes a day, I'm over an hour within 7 days. So I done created something that's equaled up into an hour. So that day where I'm locked in, I do 5 hours. That's just going to add to that sauce even more. So now I don't feel like I got to catch up. Now I don't feel like I have to wait to a certain day in order to really take off or do what I need to do. I've already been adding it into my repertoire this whole time. And so by adding a little bit each time, by continuing to level up and sharpen a little bit, just each time, that's going to help you to lower that imposter syndrome now, because you feel like, hey, I ain't just restarting. I'm just not just talking about it. I'm actually putting action towards it. So this is a long episode about imposter syndrome and about how I continue to find ways to push through. But to summarize, I would just say for folks, if you're going through imposter syndrome, a big thing is first looking into the mirror and having a realistic conversation with yourself, shutting down that ego as quick as possible, holding yourself accountable, telling yourself, you know what, I got work that needs to be done. I'm not where I want to be. Okay, cool. Once you can realize that, and once you can be real with yourself, then you realize, hey, what's the rush? After that, putting a little bit of time into it each day. You ain't got to put 2 to 3 hours. You ain't got. People say 10,000 hours. It's not about sitting there putting in 5 to 10 hours every single day, because you're already going to find the energy to do that anyways. I'm not cooking 5 to 10 hours every single day, but if I'm cooking multiple meals throughout the week, the preparation and all that might equal up to 5 hours when I'm finished with it. But I don't have to like consistently force myself to cook every single day just to be able to keep up with my cooking skills. But each time I get in the kitchen, okay, let me add something here. Let me change up something. Same way when I'm editing my videos. Okay, I can do the same edits or style of edits for 2 to 3 videos. On that 4th video, okay, let me try to add in something new. Let me see if this filter might be a little bit better than the last filter. Let me see if I can learn how to do picture in picture, where I can add myself twice and mask it to where it looks like there's 2 versions of me. Okay, let me see if I can add in some sounds at the beginning to make it a storyline. You got to add in a little bit each time, and then you've got to be comfortable with you not knowing shit. You got to be comfortable with you messing up. You got to be comfortable with the days in which you're insecure or where we feel like you don't know anything. And the biggest thing is continue to move forward and lock in with those people that's locked in with you. But for the people that's just talking, the people that ain't got no motion, the people that just like to be full of critique and ain't actually doing anything, man, get rid of those people or just don't pay them any attention. Because I guarantee if you're someone that just even starts doing something 5 to 10 minutes a day, and you're doing that over the course of a year, you don't pass up over 90% of people, because there's people that can say that they locked into 75 hard. They can say that they locked into all these little weight loss regimens or whatever, but everybody falls off. I've been someone that's fell off before. Why? Because you're sticking to this routine of trying to lose something quick. And when it ends, you ain't have no goals. You just had goals just to look a certain way and waiting until this ends to show your results. You couldn't wait till that 30 days, 75 days ends, or to say you did this for 60 days and it ended. But when you're making that slow progress over time, it's going to feel like, hey, I can keep on doing this for my weight loss. I done lost 39 pounds, and I've done that over the course of less than 6 months. But the way in which I did it, I learned how to be able to add in sweets and learn how to add in carbs and stuff like that as well. So imagine if I was just doing a diet where I'm just going strictly keto, which I've been doing low carb, but strictly keto, and I have moments where I didn't add in cookies, cakes, chips, and all that because I'm feeling like I couldn't. So whenever I end the diet, I'm just going to go back into going crazy. But if I learn how to have some days where I go crazy, learn how to eat that and take small strides and then still go back into my fasting, go back into heavy water, still go back into my low carb, even after a couple of days of eating high carbs, eating high sweets. If I do that, then it's going to make it so much easier for me to get back on track and for me to be locked in, because I'm going to know that, okay, you know what, I don't even feel like eating like this today. Eating healthy, that ain't bad for me because I know how to do that. I know how to make eating healthy sexy. I know how to make eating healthy fun. So you know what? I don't really feel like eating pancakes and cookies and stuff today. Eating a lot of pizza. But if it's where you trying to do this diet, you know what I'm saying, to look like something in a certain period of time, or you're trying to do it in order to impress people, or you're trying to do it in order to prove something, eventually that's going to fall down because you didn't have no purpose the whole time. Your purpose was just to get through the diet. Your purpose wasn't to level up, to create a healthier state for yourself, or to transition your mindset, or to instill discipline. Your goal was just to get to that diet, just to prove that. But you got to get past that. You got to show yourself during that process that, hey, yeah, my goal is to be able to complete this, but my goal is to continue to create a better me during this process and to keep leveling up and to sharpen myself each and every time. So I want to make this a long episode. Shout out to my boy for requesting me to talk about this in the episode. I didn't even get to talk about the part on having regrets, which I'll do another episode on that. But this, I feel like this was really good. Like, I really love talking about this because I think it's something which we all struggle with, and it's something that I can still continue to have struggles with. So again, that 5 to 15%, that's there because I'm leveling up in a way to where now, because of where I'm at, I'm getting into rooms and I'm getting into spaces where there's people that are certified. There's people that have true longevity where they've actually been able to make money from stuff like this, or they've been able to really create a brand or create a whole ecosystem based on this. So now it's about me continuing to put myself out there, continuing to challenge myself, but more importantly, continuing to accept my insecurities or flaws and continue to be able to level up on those and continuing to push myself to higher levels and continuing to challenge myself each and every time. I told myself, I said, we're going to be dauntless this year. So what does that include? Again, if I seen food events where I can be a part of, what am I waiting on if I have some time? Go do the event, DeMarcus. What you got to lose? Okay, it might cost you. Hell, one of the events I did was free. And at first, I tried to trick myself into thinking that I was like, man, let's see if we really want to do it. I said, man, we're going to do this. So I went ahead and told myself, I said, we're going to go ahead and say we're going to do it. Because even if we had the periods of time where we're going to think like past it or whatever, I said, you know what? We're going to go ahead and say yes. Because if I was to say no to this individual over here, this person that's going to be throwing me, you know, different types of opportunities, I'm going to do myself a disservice because now they're going to be like, DeMarcus ain't going to show up. So in my own mind, I'm tricking myself to say, you know what? You know how cowardly you would look to back out of this last minute for no reason when this is opportunities you've been saying that you wanted. So you got to also trick your mind. So this is a life of a multifaceted. This was about imposter syndrome and how I've been able to level up and level through and continue to build confidence and self-esteem along this process. If you're someone that struggles with this, please share in the comments about your own struggles with it. Hit me up on Instagram, that man Marco, or Mashing Up with Marco, or hit it in my comments on YouTube, Multifaceted of DeMarcus, and let me know like what you think about this episode and just about your experiences. If there's any ways in which I can help to give you some resources or just talk even more in depth about my experience, I'm glad to. But hopefully this can help somebody else to be like, you know what? Let me start today by at least betting on myself. And truly betting on yourself. Not when some people say like, hey, I'm just betting, like truly taking a step to do something. If you had a hobby that you want to do it today. Record yourself for 5 minutes. Throw it out there. And I'm saying this to say everything that I am like, hey, I should be doing or I can try. I haven't done every single thing, but I can say in this moment, a lot of things in which I say that I'm going to do and I push myself to do, I'm doing. So if you have a lot more things on your list that you said you were going to do that you haven't done versus the things that you've actually done, I'm going to need you to change it up today. So this is the life of a multifaceted. It's your boy DeMarcus, and I'm out of here. Peace.